I have worked on some of the biggest marketing campaigns in the world with some of the biggest brands in the world. And let me tell you, there is so much that the average business owner just does not know. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing the main things for you to consider if you want to market your small business this year and beyond. This video is brought to you by Pixar. More on them later. All right, let's kick off with a fairly, I don't want to call it easy. This is like the fun part, I feel. This is your vision. This is where you want to go. I'm actually going to use a marketing concept here that isn't usually used for this section, but I think it's going to help us complete it properly. By the way, there's going to be a lot of marketing concepts here. If you're an OG subscriber, you'll know what I'm about to say. Get your marketing hats on. If you are new here, hey, hi, I'm Jade. I always forget to introduce myself. Marketing hats is what I say when I'm about to unleash a bunch of marketing gibberish to you. So, we ready? Great. The marketing concept that I'm going to use right now is called the 4 C's of marketing. And it's by like Jobber and Faye. I can't believe I'm referencing. Am I at uni? Doesn't even matter, right? Anyway, it's called the 4 C's of marketing, and we're going to use it to identify your broader vision. The first C stands for clarity. So I want you to get your notepad and pen out, and I want you to write the word clarity, and underneath it, I want you to get clear on a few things. The first thing is, who are you? Who are you as a business? What do you stand for? What's your tone of voice? What's your brand's personality? Are you friendly? Are you corporate? Are you self-deprecating? Like, what are you like? Think of yourself like a person. What are you like as a person, right? I also want you to get clear or get some clarity on who your audience are. So you've identified who you are, great. Who is your audience? Who is the ideal person who's going to buy from you? What are their attributes? What do they like to see? What don't they like to see? What are their pain points? All of that good stuff. Then we're going to move on to the next C. The next C stands for credibility. Under this, I want you to write down the things which either currently make you a credible brand or which will hopefully make you credible in the future. What we're referring to here are things like testimonials, if you've got those. And if you don't have them now, then maybe that's something you want to get in the future to help with your credibility. Maybe you've won awards in the past. Maybe you've been featured in Forbes or in all these credible, reputable media publications. Think about things that you could share with your audience. We call them proof points or like social proof, which basically allow your audience to believe that you are credible. Maybe you sell something that's in the health and fitness world and you have a health and fitness qualification or a degree. I talk about my degree a lot. That helps me with my credibility. I talk about my work experience a lot. 8 years in marketing. That gives me credibility. I mean, I literally opened this video talking about my work experience, right? Credibility. So I want you to write all those things down because we want to refer back to these things when we're creating content for our marketing efforts. Oh, guys, I'm so sorry, but it's the time of the year where I have to have all my windows open to film because it's so hot and people are talking outside. I'm hoping they don't have a long conversation. Wrap it up, guys. Okay, they're not talking anymore. Let's move on. All right, so the next C stands for consistency. This one's slightly harder to do at this stage, but I want you to give it a go. I want you to think about the amount of content that you will be comfortable sharing on a weekly basis. Further on in this video, we're going to talk about the types of content that you want to share, but I want you to start thinking about how consistent you potentially could be with your marketing. Do you think that you could share fresh content across a multitude of channels on a weekly basis, on a daily basis? Start to have a think about that, because that is where the consistency comes in. And the 4th C is competitiveness. Under this C, I want you to write down what makes you unique. What is your USP, also known as your unique selling point, also known as your special sauce, also known as other things that I can't think of on the spot. What is that thing that's gonna make you stand out from the crowd, make you competitive, which basically means like make you unique? What is that thing for you and your brand? Write that down, and then we're going to move on to the next point. All right, so the next thing I'm going to want you to do is make sure that you have got the right toolbox for you to actually create good marketing content and share it with your audience. Now, there is one tool that I want to talk about specifically today, and it is a tool by Pixar. If you're not familiar with Pixar already, then you need to head to the link in my description and check them out. I have the app and I use it to create graphics, to edit content, and basically market my business. The tool I want to show you today is the Remover tool. It's one of my absolute favorites. Let's do a quick demo so you can see in action. Okay, so I've got the app up and I've just opened up a photo to do a demo of this removal tool, right? So at first glance, this photo might look totally fine. You might be like, yeah, this is totally fine. There's not really a messy background. But if we're going to be creating content as part of our marketing efforts for our business, it's important that we pay attention to detail and make sure that everything that we're sharing is of the best quality. This hack is super useful for anyone who creates content for their business whilst they're on the go and maybe they don't have the ability to hire a fancy production studio to do this for them, right? So when we look at this photo, it probably looks fine. But if we were going to be using this for our business purposes, we might want to clear up this background a bit. So if I zoom in, can you see you've got like a bunch of like fire safety notices? You can see the top of like the fire, what are those called? You know what I mean? The fire canister thingies. Honestly, I don't remember what anything's called when there's a camera in my face. Like everything, every word just flies out of my mind. Okay, so we're going to scroll and we're going to use the remove tool here. We're going to zoom in and we're going to literally just highlight everything that we want to remove. And then I'm going to click remove button and that's gone. We're going to do the same here. Remove, gone. We're going to get even rid of these top things. We're going to be real perfectionists here, guys. That's gone. Okay, is there anything else? Let's get rid of this little switch up here. Because why not? Because we can. Let's zoom in. Let's get rid of this. Click remove. And voila, just like that, we've removed those elements and the photo looks neater. This is going to have such a huge impact, not only on the content that you're going to share as part of your marketing efforts, but also on your ability to get creative when you're out and about and capturing content to market your business. Previously, in an old life, I would avoid taking photos in certain areas because there'd be things in the backdrop that I knew I wouldn't be able to edit out. But now we can do that by using this tool. There are also so many other tools available with PixArt, so I really recommend heading to the link in my description to get started. All right, so the next thing that you're going to want to do here is to pick a marketing channel. Now, how do I condense all of this information into just a few minutes? Let's see. There are a multitude of different marketing channels that you can use to promote your business. A lot of the time we think there's only social media because that's the most popular one. It's free at the moment. It's free to use and it has the ability to help you reach thousands, if not millions of people. So I do recommend social media forming part of your marketing strategy. However, I would not be doing my job if I didn't tell you about the other channels available. So I'm going to break these channels down based on what they're really good at achieving, right? So if you're a brand who at the moment has some money to spend, you are flush with cash, congratulations, and your focus is on awareness. So you're trying to get people to become aware of your brand. You might want to consider these channels: TV advertising, radio advertising, magazines, so like media partnerships, and out of home, which is basically like billboards and stuff like that. These cost money, my love. These are not cheap, although maybe radio is not as expensive as it used to be, but like these cost money. These are not cheap, but they will help you reach millions of people. So there's that. There's a fly in here. It's just the sound of flies that drive me up the wall more than anything. Hopefully it's gone. Okay. On the other hand, if you are focused on sales or getting data from your customers or getting some kind of response from your audience. Oh, I think there's guys, I think there's something stuck in the plant. I think there's like a fly in the plant. I'm just going to get through this video. I'll figure out in a minute. You might want to consider things like email marketing or like leafleting and coupons and stuff like that. Other channels which can kind of do both of the things that I've just mentioned, so these could be good for awareness but also getting responses, are things like PR, social media, website marketing, so like blogs and stuff, events, sponsorships, partnerships, etc. There are a lot of marketing channels out there. Fortunately, if you want to focus on social media as one, I do have a whole suite of videos available on my YouTube channel which will help you with that. I'll link to one which will help you get started up here. I also have a membership for creators and business owners, which has a bunch of resources that you can get instant access to. So I'll link to that below in case you are interested. But for now, I want you to consider everything I've just said and have a think about which channels you might want to explore for your marketing efforts. All right, so now that you've picked your short list of channels, you actually have to move on to the next stage, which is either the hard stage or the fun stage, depending on who you are. This stage is about creating the actual content. Now, there are a few ways that you can go about creating this content that you are going to be sharing through these marketing channels. So if you decided that you were going to do leafleting, you need to create the leaflets. If you want to do social media, you have to create the content for your social media channels. If you want to do a TV ad, you got to make the TV ad, right? Here are a few different ways that you can go about doing this. The first route is self-production. So this is when you sit down with your camera and your phone and your notebook or whatever it is, and you just create that content yourself. Now, word of warning, this is not for the weak. Like, this is a hard thing to do. I've had multiple businesses in the past and I've almost always been the person who created all of that content, and it is difficult. And that is coming from someone who has a background in graphic design and marketing. You would think it'd be easy for me. It was easier than it was for the average person, but it's still very challenging. It's important that if you decide to do this yourself, you still invest your time and energy in learning how to do it properly. Even if you have a background in graphic design or photography, that's great, but do you understand social media strategy and vice versa? Figure out where your weak points are and invest in coaches or courses or memberships or, I don't know, free resources that are going to help you fill that knowledge gap or that skill gap so that you're creating content effectively. Now, another way that you can create this content is to hire a freelancer to do it for you. Now, freelancers are usually experts in this field. They normally are able to create the content you want a little bit quicker and often a lot better too. There are different freelance websites that you can use. There's ones like Fiverr, but the one that I would recommend is actually called Maple. Maple has a bunch of freelancers on their books who are experts in marketing. So if you're really looking for the best freelancer possible, I do recommend checking out Maple. I'll put a link below. Another way that brands do this, and this is how the big brands do it, right, is that they hire an agency. Now, I used to work in a bunch of agencies, so I know this like the back of my hand. This costs money. How you normally pay an agency is based on a scope of work. You'll go to an agency, you'll give them a brief, hey, I want a TV ad and I want it to achieve X, Y, and Z. They'll give you a response and they'll also tell you how much it's going to cost based on who they're going to have working on it and the production and all that kind of stuff. This is expensive, but it's because agencies literally have the benefit of having a bunch of people who are experts in their field working on something. When you see a TV ad, unless it's like in the middle of the day for some random brand, 9 times out of 10, that has been created by a big creative agency. Now, there are multiple different agencies that specialize in different things. There are creative agencies who actually do the production. There are media agencies who will buy the TV ad slot. There are social media agencies who will then take that content and share it on social media. Honestly, the list just goes on. It can get so complicated. But if you're a small business owner and you're exploring the agency route, you want to focus on agencies which are omni-channel or multi-channel. This basically means that they can help you with multiple different marketing efforts and not just in producing the TV ad. They can produce the TV ad and also buy the TV ad slot for you. So they could do a bunch of different things. I hope that makes sense because it's a funny world, the agency world. So I hope I explained that correctly. Last way that you can do this is to recruit people as your in-house team to create this content for you. Exercise caution with this one, guys. I would always recommend if you want to have an in-house team who could do all your marketing for you at some point, then you want to start by hiring freelancers so that you can truly understand where you need the help and also the level of help that you need. You can then take those learnings to find someone full-time to help you. All right, guys, we're on to the final consideration when it comes to marketing your business this year. This consideration is all about evaluation and analysis. This is the less glamorous part, again, depending on who you are. This is when we sit down and look at the different marketing activities that you've done, that TV ad, that social media campaign, and you ask yourself, how did it do? Now, I'm going to give you an insider secret and tell you how the big brands do this. Big brands will do things like a brand lift study. And this is basically when they commission, usually another agency, to do in-depth research to evaluate whether or not their marketing actually works. The reason why big brands feel the need to do stuff like this is because it's quite difficult to actually evaluate a marketing campaign effectively, which is probably such a frustrating thing to accept, but it's true. If you're going to do a big social media campaign, whilst you can have all of the analytics available to you through the chosen social media site that you've picked, whether it's Instagram, YouTube, whatever it may be, and whilst you can also compare that to things like your website and what your traffic was like and how many sales you made, it's often difficult to definitively say, yes, this post generated £1,000 in income. Those are two things which are quite hard to do unless you hire an agency to do it for you, or you get super advanced with things like Google Analytics. Google Analytics is essentially a program that you can use. I actually think it's free, which will allow you to do things like generate unique links that allow you to track where your traffic and your sales are coming from. I am not going to dive deeper into that subject because, as you can tell, it's fairly complicated and I'm also not an expert in it. So if you want to learn more about Google Analytics, then I do recommend having a browse on YouTube because there'll be so many tutorials behind it. You can have a look and see if it's really for you. Regardless of the route that you take to evaluate and analyze your marketing activity, it's important that you do make an effort to do so. I have a social media tracker that myself and members of the collective, which is my membership community, use. This is what it looks like. And this is a great way for us to have an holistic view on the performance of our social media content over the span of 12 months. You might want to consider using something similar to that. It is available to Plus and Pro members of the collective instantly, in addition to loads of other templates, resources, masterclasses, etc. I will, of course, put a link below in case you are interested. All right, my loves, what a marketing heavy video that was. I hope you enjoyed it. Do not forget to check out PicsArt via the link in my description so you can get started creating some amazing marketing content for your brand. If you feel like hanging around, I recommend watching this video. It's all about the different routes that you can take to grow your business this year. So if you liked this video, you're going to like that one too. Thank you so much for watching as always. I can't wait to see you in my next video.